So again, my name is Melissa Russell. I am a volunteer. I am the class of 2001 treasurer, and I also serve on the classes and reunion committee, and I'm the chair of that committee. So I'm a volunteer chair, so I get to come back to campus a few times a year and think about ways with our fabulous committee that we can support all of the classes and specifically support reunion cycles. So today we're hoping that we'll be able to really share with you lots of detailed information. But I want to introduce some of the people in the room and really help you understand who are your volunteers, so who are the alums that are coming back to support fellow alums, and who are our amazing staff members that work for the Alumni Association. So I'm going to use my cheat sheet so I don't miss anybody. So I'm going to start with our staff members. So our fabulous staff members that are here year-round, that do countless hours. Some weeks I'm sure they're working way more than a full-time person should be working, and they just support every logistical component of the Alumni Association. Some of them are alums, some of them are not, and just are alums at heart maybe. So the first person many of you have gotten tons of emails from is this fabulous lady over here, Janet Glick. The person who keeps sending you emails. So Janet Glick is the director of the classes and reunions. And she has been at the Alumni Association for
3.5 years.
So she's lived through a few reunions now and is an expert. Nancy Perez is actually our interim executive director, and she's an alum. So she's class of 76. Luisa Tavares is in the back. Wait for us, Luisa. Luisa, I'm sure you know, if you've come to reunion before, is kind of that queen of logistics and registrations and things like that. Janencia was here just a second ago. Here she comes. She was the timekeeper in the room, if you didn't notice, and microphone wrangler. Janencia is the senior director of alumni engagement. So she will be with us today. So this is our staff from the association that's here in the room. And then we have some of our committee that's in the room. So I get to serve on a committee with some fabulous alums from a variety of different years. So starting off is Mona Gubo, class of 72. And Mona, as a committee, what we do is we separate all of the classes into small chunks so that we can really what we call liaison with a particular chunk of classes. So Mona does the classes of the 1960s. So from 1960 to 69, she checks in with those classes. And then next is Bridget. Bridget Mahoney is class of 2006. And she checks in with classes from 2007 to 2017. Then we have Joni Vader. She's class of 76. And she checks in with classes of 1981 through 1990 and also 2001 to 2005. And then we have Linda, I always pronounce it wrong, Krutoff, class of 67. And Linda is doing classes of 1970 all the way through 1980. And last but not least, I have Louise Peach, class of 86, and she checks in with class of 91 through 2000.
And FPs.
And FPs.
Yes.
So those are all the volunteers that really are alums, and we serve our class boards in a variety of capacities and are going to be able to share some of our expertise in that area. We also have some of the team from the Alumni Association's Board of Directors here today. As I'm going to start with Marcia, who you just heard from her. Marcia is our Alumni Association president, class of 67. We also have, I don't think
Maria should be here.
Oh, there's Maria. There we are. Maria Masadas, you also heard from just a few moments ago. Praise Maria. 73. This is very exciting for us. The Board of Directors really thinks a lot about transitioning our leadership, and we decided to make a new position recently. I don't know if this was just in the discussion, but I'm going to repeat it. And so Maria Masadas is our president-elect, which is fabulous because she gets to spend a year shadowing Marcia, really getting to know the association and connecting with people at the college before she jumps into her presidency for 3 years. So we're excited to have that new position this year. Nancy Drake is not in the room yet, and when she comes in the room, I will introduce her, but she is the chair of the nominating committee.
She's here as head class agent, so
Okay. She's probably in there. Okay, perfect. The other thing I wanted to point out is you probably noticed that there's a camera in the room right now. So what we decided this year, we've heard lots of feedback from alumni in the past, that you want to be able to see this presentation if you can't get here or revisit it at a later time. So we're actually live streaming it today, which is pretty impressive. So if class board members are not able to be here, they can click right into the link and be able to watch a section of the presentation this morning and a section of the presentation this afternoon. So welcome anyone on the live stream.
Is that being recorded then too?
It is being recorded as well. Yeah.
Will be put up on the website.
Awesome, thank you.
A few other housekeeping type things. Over here you'll see that we have snacks and water, so if you are feeling like you need a little snack, feel free to grab it. And then we know that during trainings, lots of things might jump into your head at different times, questions, ideas, comments, and instead of kind of getting off track and losing our time, we thought we would institute something called a parking lot. So if you've done any trainings before, you might have heard of this concept. A parking lot means that you will get a set of sticky notes. They're going to pass them out now. We'll put them out on the tables, and if you think of something that maybe isn't completely on topic or just a question or idea that you want to make sure that we hear at some point, we'd like you to jot it down, and then we'll make 2 parking lots. Over here on the wall, just behind where Bridget is, and then over underneath the clock. You can just stick your sticky notes there, and we'll check in on the parking lot at different times during the day.
There's not enough sticky pads for everyone, so if you can share them, there's plenty of stickies on pads, just not enough for everyone.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, pull them apart and send them back.
All right, and so just as a fun little kickoff, let's see if you know some MHC trivia. I'll start with some easy ones. So here we go. We've got some fun giveaways. So can anyone name all 5 class emblems? All right, try it.
Phoenix, Sphinx, Pegasus, Griffin.
Yeah, some people are saying, oh, I didn't know about the Phoenix. Does anybody know which class is the Phoenix? Okay, here's another easy one. What are the 5 class colors? Did you name all 5? Go.
Purple, yellow, red, green, blue.
You got it. Nice. Here's some more prizes. You want to hand them out? Perfect. All right, let's try some maybe a little bit trickier ones. Does anyone know what the oldest academic building on campus is? Oldest academic building. Not clap.
The observatory.
Not cat house.
The observatory.
Yay! Ding, 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 ding. The observatory. Okay, here's another one. What was Mary Woolley Hall's original name? What was Mary Woolley Hall's original name? Yeah. Yay! So the Student Alumni Hall was its original name. So there have been in our history 3 male presidents to Mount Holyoke. Can anyone name one of the 3? Just take the whole bag!
I can name all 3.
Who can name all 3? Let's try that. You want to try?
Sherman and Hitchcock.
Yay! Right. Come on, we're good. Thank you. So we have these kind of fun trivia questions that we'll ask throughout the day with some more giveaways. But getting back to business, do we have a... So the goal for today is really to do these things. So we're going to hopefully make you feel really confident about the reunion planning timeline. We're going to help you identify your reunion goals and create your vision for your reunion. I think this is something very special and unique to Mount Holyoke, because you get to really create your own goals and vision for your particular class. We get to give you updates on the new community center and how it impacts you. And how many people went on the hard hat tour yesterday of the community center? Oh, good. So you can help us out when we get to different sections where we're talking about the community center. You're going to learn all about the Alumni Association planning process. You're going to understand the college's rules and regulations. Unfortunately, we do need to know all those rules and regulations so that we can make sure we provide a really safe, fabulous reunion. We're going to continue to build your budgets and really help that you have all of those details that are in the budget so you can feel confident about that component. And identify the tools you'll need to help plan your reunion. And just in case you didn't know, reunion is 8 months away. But we have done this reunion planners workshop at the 8-month mark and have had huge success with it. So we know that this is the right time to really get your energy going and to ramp up and get excited about reunion coming up in May. So even though it's 8 months and that may seem like a long or a short time, there's plenty of time to get everything done, and we'll be here to help make sure that that happens.
So in order to, in an effort to support the college's campus's sustainability initiative, we this year for the first time have put everything online for you to use to go through the process this weekend. I understand there may be some technical difficulties going on. Is everybody able to log in and get to the documents? From mobile devices and computers?
And I love that some people are taking photographs of these slides. That's a great option. So if you have a phone with you, you can take photographs of things that you want to remember later.
Are you going to not send the PowerPoint later?
The PowerPoint is also available online.
It's on the link that I had sent you previously in the confirmation email about the live streaming. Actually, it's about the live streaming.
Okay.
The live stream email that I sent you had the link to the page with all the documents you'll need for the weekend. So everybody's on the internet. No one has any challenges getting on the internet?
No challenges getting on, but it's really slow.
Okay.
Because everybody's on it.
Students aren't working classes.
They use a different.
Okay.
What page do we need to be on?
So the first document that you'll want to open to follow along is the resources page, which is up on the screen. And this document here is actually on page 5 of the handbook as well. But really it's a resource page for you that gives you links to specific places you'll need to go in order to plan reunions. So it'll give you our Alumni Association link. It gives you the volunteer page, which we'll go through in a moment. The reunion page, once reunion page is up and live. It gives you my contact information and general questions about the Alumni Association, as well as the Classes and Reunions Committee page. So we just went through the introduction of all the committee members and talked about the classes they represented. So if you happen to not write it down, you can always click on this link here, and it'll bring you right to the page where all the committees are listed, and you can open it up to get their names.
Yep.
People who are technologically challenged,
Okay.
and I can get my computer on. But I don't know where to go to get what you.
Okay, there you go.
Bridget's going to
coming.
Actually, it's such a big document. Okay. Okay, so we have a student worker in the room. This is Netta. She's going to assist if anybody needs any help. Is everybody else online?
It's uploading.
So if you're on the MHC Open, you don't need a password, but if it's really slow or maybe you want to go on to the other one, it's the Lion Encrypt. You can go on that one, and the password is Mary Lion, all lower caps. So maybe it might give you a little lowercase. Sorry, might give you a little more speed.
And I have a secure laptop, so it's not letting me get on the
Right, so you'll be able to get on the Lion Encrypt
Right, yeah.
with the password Mary Lion, all lowercase letters.
Yes, give Apple one.
Does that work better?
Does that work better?
Yeah, my computer wasn't gonna let me go onto an
Unsecure site.
Yeah.
And that seems to be working better.
Okay. Sure. So we just had a request to see if we can introduce the classes that are in the room. So if one person from each of the classes could just raise your hand and say what class is here, that would be great. Maybe we could start with the youngest class, which would be 16. There's two more over here.
Over here also. Kennedy, Constance, and I'm Imani.
Okay, class of
13 would be the next.
13.
I'm 13. I'm Cade, Friedenbach, and then Emmy Bouvier is also here, but she's not right here.
Welcome. 2008.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Adden. I'm Ellery.
03.
Kat Ryan, I've got Ame here, and we're kind of co-chairs, and she's vice president of the class, and I'm chair. And then we've got Abby, who's actually representing, she's over the treasury content meeting right now.
1998.
Hi, I'm Mary, and I have Joanna and Lindsay with me today.
93.
Yep, Lisa Morrow Buffett, and I am co-reunion chair with Tiffany Clay, who hopefully is live streaming.
1988.
Hi, I'm Natalie Wilson, past president for 1988. Hi, Marie. Hi, Kelly. We're on, we've got this.
1983.
83, Kathy Hughes. I'm here with Lisa and Pam. They're the reunion chairs, and I'm the vice president of the class. Maybe Gary's on
1978.
with us.
Hi, I'm Maureen Kuhn, I'm co-president. I have Kathy Sharkey, who's my co-chair, and Mary Kay, who's my vice president.
Wonderful. 1973.
Hi, Lisa Doherty, I'm president of class of 93, and I have Cheryl Mahoney, and you've already introduced her 3 times.
Enough.
1968.
Now there's a few
Lots of
us. We have a fair number of our committee, and we have some day trippers and some overnighters, but have escaped hurricanes, whatever. But we have Ann Bellinger and Liz Tannenbaum and Karen Wilbur and Susan Ishilian and Debbie Dunn-Rottenberg, my fabulous co-chair, Paula Leidick, president of our class, Jamie Gardner-Portman, Tony Saylor Eisenhower, who we were roommates for 3 years. She is finally going to be able to go back to Florida because she's gotten news that there is air conditioning. She has been camping out in the Northeast for a few weeks, staying with my former husband. And that's our 50th.
And that's our
reunion.
Class of 1963.
Spending the night with him.
I'm Marianne Weiss, the reunion chair of class of 63. Marianne Weiss, reunion chair, and this is Carol Koenig. And our assistant chair is in Florida, so and we have 2 others who are at the other meeting that won't be here.
Wonderful. And 1958.
Good morning. My name is Betty Baker. I'm the reunion chair. I am here with
Bennett.
She is married.
And we have another person, Judy Gideon, who is at the fundraiser. So she's kind of split. She's at the fundraiser.
And then our FPs.
Yes, I'm Deb Simpson, I'm the reunion chair, and I'm here with Gretchen Bussel, our vice president, and we're in this together. And just to be clear, the uniqueness of the FPs is that we can be the newest.
Yeah, that's true.
We're not the oldest, but we can be the newest as well as any other year. Except beyond 1980, whatever. We'll get back to two.
There were no alums in 1982 that are FPs?
That's the first year.
That was the first year.
So that was, oh,
I didn't miss a class, did I? Yeah. All right. So what we want to do first is go through the Alumni Association volunteer page, and that was one of the links that was on that previous page that I had shown you. And I'm going to take you outside of the... There's one page that I want to make sure everyone knows how to get to. It's going to be a brief presentation. I just want to make sure everyone can get to the place where all the documents are that you'll need to plan a reunion. So when you first log into the Alumni Association site, if you don't click on that link that I had provided, you'll come to the main page, and in the top black column up here, a row across the top, you'll see volunteers. So you need to click on volunteers, and then you'll see classes and reunions, and then you'll see reunion planning in the drop-down screen. So click on that. And here are all the documents you'll need for reunion planning. So you have your reunion planning handbook that you can click on here, and then sample fall letters, winter letters, samples of welcome centers that people have had in the past, some sample centerpieces, a class meeting agenda that's a sample that we have, and then the reunion 1 and 2 schedule samples. So if you're in reunion 1 and you want to see what happens on reunion 1, you can click on that and it'll give you an idea of the general things that happen on reunion. We have our reunion planning handbook and then our 50th reunion handbook listed here. And then some other tools that you can use. So the workshop presentation is listed here as well. So the presentation that we're going through right now. The reunion planning timeline is listed here. We have statistics, and all these documents that are here are also on that link that I've given you in advance. We'll skip that because we don't have those yet. The class colors are here in case you're interested in class colors. We have some local resources for you to use in the area in case you're trying to plan something. Equipment for reunion, what's available and how to do it, as well as survey guidelines. So if you're sending a survey out, the Alumni Association has come up with some guidelines to help guide you through it. There's some ways that we've included some ways to help you produce them. And I have a bunch of questions from past surveys that I can send off to you if you're interested in seeing what some of the other classes have asked. Now, once reunion planning starts, we're going to be asking you for some forms to be completed, and we're going to go through the timeline here next, but this is where you can come to get the forms. You will start getting emails from me. You've gotten the first one already for the committee form where I requested back in August for you to send me a list of your committee members, and I don't think I've gotten all of them from you yet. So if you can submit that via the link here. You can also go back to the email I sent you, and there's a link on there as well. But as these forms are due to you, you'll start to receive email blasts from me asking for you to submit it, actually from the committee and myself to submit those forms. But here are the links in case you wanted to go in and check them out. And then, of course, we have a mini reunion handbook. It might be a little late in the game to plan a mini reunion, but after you reunion next year, if you're still an officer and you want to do a mini reunion, we do have a handbook. I'm sorry?
Mountain Day.
Mountain Day?
Mountain
Mountain Day mini reunion, yes.
For local.
Yes. So on this page also, under classes and reunion, you can click on reunion, and it will bring you to the reunion page. So this is last year's reunion, and there's some information about what happened at reunion. So feel free to go back and look. Once the reunion website is live for reunion 2018, this is where you'll come to find all the information. And I'll let you know once it goes live.
And that's where you would register.
That's where you register, that's where you find out the FAQs, cost and pricing, so anyone registering for reunion will go to that page. And everything that you send to me over the next 4 or 5 months will be part of us being able to put this page together, so it's important to be able to get that information from you. And go back one. And then, just in case anybody's interested, the roles and responsibilities for class officers are listed here. So if you're just curious what, say, the vice president's role is in reunion, you can click on that and it gives you a description of what their role is. It's also listed in the handbook. So I know it's trying to rally volunteers for reunion is important, and you want to get as many as you can, but your board members should be a real supportive group of people for you. So this is a great place to go to find out what their roles are in playing in reunion. All right, back to this. Does anybody have any questions about the volunteer page and how to get to it and how to use it?
Yeah.
Yes.
I successfully got to the reunion 2017, but I was behind, so I don't know where you got to the handbook and all the information. So you pick volunteers on the menu, and then what do you do?
Classes and reunions.
Okay.
And it will drop down, give you a drop down screen, and you'll go into reunion
And then all the
planning.
links are there on the page.
If you look under classes and reunion, there's 3 options there. One that says reunion, one that says roles.
Maybe go back to that.
Yeah,
and
just
then-
to-
and
yeah.
Can you walk me? Oh, you're not live. I see.
So it's volunteers.
Here we go, we're going to show you
Right at the top.
So
So volunteers, and then classes and reunions, and you just put your mouse over it, and it brings the drop-down screen. So go into reunion planning.
it's a good question to ask, because you want to be able to find all these details. And we'll see if don't worry. Yes.
One issue I'm having is just, it's very slow, so following, I'm just like, it's taking a minute.
Did you do the lion encryption? Okay. Well, the key thing to note is that Janet is showing you where all these things are, and you can go back to the PowerPoint to kind of help yourself guide through. And then, again, later in the day, there'll be time for the classes and reunion committee to rotate around. So if you can't find a particular thing, don't feel badly about being like, it was acting too slow, can you show me where this item is?
And again, as you get the emails from me, there's links in those emails to bring you right to where you need to go. So it should be easy once you get the link. Okay. So, reunion committees. So the positions that we say are mandatory positions are the class president, a communications or web person, and just one real quick thing I want to say about the communication and web person. Whenever a new web person or communication person is elected in your class or assigned in your class, we need to make sure that that information gets to the association, because we do have someone in our office that does manage that and needs to be able to have access to everyone who's doing that. And recently we've noticed that our information isn't as updated as we thought it was. So if you can make sure you include your web coordinator in your list of reunion committee members, when you send that to me, I will make sure that that gets updated. Your reunion chair, of course, is a very important person, and your treasurer. So those are the key players for planning reunion. Now, the optional positions are, say, a booklet or questionnaire chair, a costume chair, hospitality chair, program chair, a reunion scribe, a sign chair, and a social chair. And I know some of you are probably wondering that have done reunion in the past, why is there no name tag chair up there anymore? The Alumni Association actually will provide you with name tags. Louisa, do you happen to have that sample by chance? We provide you with a name tag as you check in for reunion. So there's no need for you to worry about your classmates and getting name tags printed. And we actually are providing you name tags in this wonderful setup. Has a lanyard. It's all one piece. So in here we have your name tag. In the back there's a clear spot that's open that you can put your room key in or your one card in. And there's actually a zipper pocket in here too, so you can stick anything else like money or keys or
And a phone
credit cards.
fits.
And a phone fits.
We tried it.
Yep. So this is what everybody will be receiving when they check in for reunion next year. So no worries about planning any type of name tags. Okay?
Sorry, I have a quick question, sorry.
Do guests get those as well?
Yes. Oh, well, Louisa, the guests get those as well, or do they just get?
Yes.
Yes, they will, yes.
We don't have to have name tags for the guests.
No, you don't have to do any name tags at all. We will provide name tags for anybody who's registered for reunion, we will provide a name tag. Yes?
You aren't going to do it already. Could you just run through the optional positions and what they do? Because I'm just not familiar what a booklet chair does, for example.
So some classes prefer to put together a booklet for reunion. So they'll send a survey out and they'll ask classmates to submit information about what they've done in life or where they're at in life or what they've done since they graduated, and they'll compile a book and they'll put it together. Some classes do it electronically, some will actually do an actual book, and there's some samples over on that table there of a few hard copy books, and there's one of a digital version over there as well, so you can take a look at that. Costume chair would be basically for the parade, so parade costume. Your hospitality chair would be someone who's in charge of making sure that if there's any snacks or anything going to be in the dorm for your guests that are coming, your classmates, any alcohol or any kind of soft drinks or anything that you'll be providing in the dorm for the comfort of your classmates coming back. Program chair would be someone who would provide or take care of setting up faculty speakers or alumni speakers for an event that you're, a lunch that you're having or a session you're having in the afternoon on Saturday. So they would take care of programming. Reunion scribe would be someone who would take notes and photos over the weekend and also post on the Alumni Quarterly after reunion. Sign chair is the person who submits the parade signs. So you'll have a sign chair, there'll be a form coming out that you'll need to submit with any new signs that you want printed. We'll let you know how many we have in inventory for your class currently and what they say. And then you can decide whether you want to purchase more or if you want to hand make them. And that will come closer to January, February time, you'll start to see that come out. And then social chair as well helps with planning the meals, which this year will be less cumbersome.
Thank you. One real quick question on that too. In the alumni, if we go online into the alumni database, do we have access to what our alums do in their professional space so that we can possibly tap them for recruitment opportunities for these positions?
There's a career network that you can go into link to get to search by class and by what their careers are. If you're a reunion chair, you could certainly request something like that through our information services.
Okay.
In the Alumni Association, there's an information form that I can actually.
All that information is actually in the database you have access to,
Right.
Just as an alum.
That's what I
But
was.
you
Right,
have
yeah.
to go through it person by person.
Oh, that's
So
not.
what you want to do is ask for the information services to give you the list.
Yes.
The spreadsheet.
Yeah, you can request it through the association and they'll give it to you.
Cool.
So if you're looking for event planners or that type of thing, we can
Yep.
search for you in some.
Okay, thank you.
It might be cool to
Thank you.
Okay, so the next slide is another document that was up online. I couldn't fit the whole thing on the screen, but it is a two-sided document in a handbook, and it's actually posted separately, so it's not such a large piece, but it's two-sided, and it's a timeline for reunion planning, and it started 24 months prior to reunion, giving you some guidelines. So we're going to skip down to 8 months before reunion, because you've done everything before that, right? Yeah. All right.
So
So
just before Janet starts, I'm just going to give a housekeeping notice that I know that there's lots of information being given and that you have classmates next to you, but remember that we're in a small room, so if we're having side conversations, it's hard for others to hear. So just whisper them or jot it on a note back and forth. I appreciate that. Thank you.
So, it is September now, you're attending the volunteer conference. So the first message that went out to you was, I need your committee response form done. So the deadline for that is October 1st. So that's when you need to get me the list of all of your classmates that are participating or on your reunion committee. We want to make sure that anybody who's helping you plan reunion gets credit for it. We want to make sure we update it in their profiles at the Alumni Association. So it's really important that if you send me what you have now and you have additions later, that's totally okay. Just make sure you send those to me later, just so I have a current view of who is actually participating. The next deadline is going to be your fall letter. That's going to be due October 10th. And so after we go through all this training this weekend, you'll get a better idea of what you can put into that fall letter. We do have a sample that we give you to use that has important pieces that need to be included, but you can also embellish and add some additional things that you've experienced over the weekend. But that'll be something that'll be due by October 10th. And that's a submission. So the email for that is going to be going out early next week. It'll give you all the links you need to go to everything you'll need. So just always remember that Facebook group that we all are in, the reunion chairs only. You can always go in there and talk to each other and ask questions. You can ask me questions, or you can email me. So the next thing that will be due is November 15th, and that's going to be your class charges. So your class fees are going to be important. You're going to need to figure out what you want to include in your class fees. We're going to talk a little bit more about that here later on in the session. And then December 1st, any catering that you'll be doing. And then January 10th, the proposed slate of officers needs to be given to the class president and reunion chair to be included in your winter letter, which is also due January 10th. So in the November timeframe, we send an email blast out to the nominating committees at the classes and tell them to start working on their slate so that when you come to reunion, you have a full slate of officers and you're not trying to struggle when you're here to get people to jump in and be an officer. So we asked them to try to take care of that in advance. Now, some classes are able to get it done by January and include it in the winter letter so everyone knows. But there are a lot of classes that don't get it done by that date, but as long as it's done before reunion, that's the important thing. Don't come to reunion without a full slate. So if the president's in the room, just make sure you check in with your nominating chair. Your class events and activities form will be due January 15th, so there's a lot due in the beginning of January. That's class events, so anything specific that you're doing for your classes, say you're going to do a presentation in the afternoon, have a speaker, have an exercise class going on Saturday morning before the parade, that type of thing. Those little things that your class specific will be doing. And then March 1st, the parade signs, as I mentioned earlier. And then April 1st, any requests from archives that you have. And then class presidents in the room and reunion chairs, if you can help me along here. The class histories are due on April 1st. And it's important that we get those by the deadline. So reunion registration opens on March 1st. So you can imagine we need to get all this information from you before we can open registration because we need all of your class information so when your classmates go online, they know what's happening at reunion. So it's imperative to stay on track and use the timeline. I'll keep you on track by sending the emails out and then on the Facebook page. So just watch for those things. All right. All right, so what does reunion look like? So I took some photos from some past reunions, just some fun shots that can give you some ideas about what the look and feel has been, and maybe get some ideas from it.
Oh my God.
The blue ones were from this past reunion.
Aaron and Lori.
And then this is on the green. We do some activities on the green during lunchtime, and these were some of the classes that sat down on the green outside the tent at the picnic, and we're just enjoying the outdoors. Okay, so there was a question that was asked about class board versus reunion board and what's the difference. So your class board is elected at reunion. The class board, or the reunion board, it's not really a reunion board, it's a reunion committee. So the reunion chair is the person who manages the reunion committees, and the reunion chair should get committee chairs to handle everything, and then those chairs should get people to help them do what they're supposed to do. And then those chairs just check in with the reunion chair.
In theory.
In theory.
Was
Was it your question?
So I am just really getting confused about the overlap. Like our class scribes are not necessarily our reunion scribes. Those are two separate positions.
Yeah. Well,
It could be.
It could
It's
be.
up to your class
But
board.
that's not an expectation if you're the class scribe, that you would also be the reunion scribe.
Right.
But the president, the treasurer,
And the reading
and the
chair.
reunion chair
Are on
are
the
on the
board.
board and on the reunion committee.
Well, another good way to think about it is that you're as a class officer, you're elected at your reunion, right? And versus, so you're a class board member versus your reunion committee. Often, the class board is reaching out and trying to find people like, hey, do you want to plan a dinner? Hey, do you want to organize this yoga class? Hey, do you want to do those things? And so it's slightly more like an appointment than an election, right?
Exactly. So you're not really elected by the class to do it.
Or that.
It's volunteers.
Is, my class scribes are not necessarily my reunion scribes.
Right.
And making sure I know what the expectations are of the board versus the people who are volunteering for me.
And on your board, you should have a discussion about if you want to have overlap there. So if you have scribes, are your scribes going to be class scribes and reunion scribes to make everything more consistent? Or do you feel like you need two specific roles? Or do you want to have two specific roles so that it opens up more opportunities for people to get involved?
Or are they willing to take on that responsibility?
Yes.
Well,
right?
Right.
Yeah.
And we are looking through the parking lot. So Bridget just went through the parking lot to see if we were going to answer things later on in the training, sorted things into categories. So thank you for using the parking lot, and we'll keep jumping in with things that we feel we should. So Bridget, myself, and Janet are going to do the next section of the training, and that is all about reunion budgeting. So I have been a class treasurer since I actually was here on campus. I started my sophomore year as a class treasurer. I've been treasurer for my 2, 5, 10, and 15 reunion. And then my co-presenter, Bridget, has had just about as long of an experience. So tell us a little bit about your treasurer.
I'm treasurer for the class of 2006, and aside from my junior year that I spent abroad, I have been the treasurer of my class since the fall of 2002. So I was the treasurer for my second year, my 5-year, my 10-year, and now my 15th reunion coming up in a few years.
So although we do not have experience with later in life reunions, all reunions start with a very similar budget, and so we can really share some of the tips and tricks that go along with that and just give you the information that you need to kind of get started on your budget. So I am hoping that our goal, Bridget and I, do not want to see anyone look like this lovely lady on the screen by the end of our reunion planning workshop and tomorrow. We're really hoping that you will not feel like her and that you will be ready to jump right in and feel confident. So first I thought I would do a fun little prize giveaway. So we look at what reunion typically costs for an alumni to attend Friday, Saturday, Sunday, staying overnight, participating in class activities, eating all the yummy food, and so on. And so we've looked at that over the past 5 years. So what I would like you to do is just jot down a total number that you think it costs an alumni to attend reunion. So what do you think that average price is? You could write something down like $25.
Without
you could write something down like
beyond
600. Yes, but not including travel. So it's just their time here on campus, lodging, food, experiences, and so on. Take a guess. Just write down any number. All right, everybody stand up.
Time to stretch anyway.
That's right.
Put your arm up.
Stand up. Thank you. All right, if you wrote a number down that is larger than 400, please sit down. If you wrote a number down that is less than $300, please sit down. If you wrote a number down that is more than, less than $325, sit down. If you wrote a number down that's less than $350, please sit down. If you wrote a number that is less than $370, please sit down. If you wrote a number that is over $390, please sit down. All right, we're getting really close, so now, okay. Now I'm gonna just go around and just tell us what number you wrote down. So what's your guess? What is it? 390. 400. 375.
385.
385.
There's one over there too, you missed over there.
Oh, did I get one more? Oh, I'm sorry. 375. 375. Okay, so I think it's the 375s and 385. You are right around it, and we have 4 bags. The real number, average for an alum to attend reunion over the past 5 years has been, drum roll, shall we? Janet, click it. $380. So close, right? So thank you. And the reason we say that is because we have been hearing a lot from alums that is very expensive to come back to reunion. Sometimes that even is inhibiting for people to come back to reunion. So we as a committee and as the Alumni Association board have really been looking at ways that we can not sacrifice all the fabulous things that we do, but try to cut down on that cost a little bit. Obviously, we can't have people come back to reunion for free. There are a lot of things that go into creating a reunion, but can we get it down just a little bit? So we're going to talk to you now about some new things that are coming up with reunion pricing that actually do drop that $380 slightly down a little bit. So we're not talking hundreds of dollars down, but we're at least going in the right direction. So.
That's just an average cost. So if you were figuring out, some of you said, okay, yeah, it's $400, and some of you, your reunions are going to be a little bit less than that. So it really depends on your class and the program.
So the second year class is definitely less, and the 5th year class is less because their fees are different. So.
Right.
Okay. So the caveat to that is, so I'm going to talk to you about some new reunion packages that we're offering this year. And so I'm going to walk through a description or a photo of it. Yes?
Could you use your microphone a little more?
I don't actually have a microphone. It's not, I'll talk louder. How's that? Is that better?
Thank you.
It does, it's not, it's connected to
The microphone there is connected to the live feed,
stream.
but not connected to the room.
Yes.
All right.
So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the packages that we're offering, and I'm going to run through it. So if you can hold your questions till I'm done and we go through the breakdown with you, that would be best, because we may answer some of the questions that you'll have as I'm walking through this, and I want to make sure that I get through it first. So here we go. Okay, so we have 2 different packages. So we have a 2-day package and a 3-day package. So the 3-day reunion package includes Friday night dinner, Saturday lunch and dinner, the registration fee, reunion programming, Friday through Sunday. It does not include class fee and it does not include overnights. It's a meal package with the fees included. So if you were to come back to reunion as, say for a 2nd year class, I'm going to start at the bottom there where you see the little green dot at the bottom underneath that blue circle. So the 2nd year class, the price to come back without staying overnight would be $129. And that doesn't include a class fee. We're going to talk about class fees in a minute. And the 5th year class would be $154, and then a regular class would be $219. Now, if you're staying on campus, the other column or the other circle there talks to you about adding your lodging to it. So if you take the reunion package and you add your lodging to it, you come up with a price. Now the reunion package, the reunion package with overnights for Friday and Saturday night is $100 per bed, and it includes a breakfast this time. So you'll get lodging for Friday and Saturday night and a hot breakfast in the new community center. So you take your $219 and you add $100 to it, so you're at $319, which is far less than $380. The caveat to that is your class fee is not included in that. So you'll need to determine what your class fee is, whether your class is going to subsidize it, subsidize part of it, or if they're going to, if you're going to ask your classmates to pay for a larger class fee. So that will determine the total cost that you'll have.
We'll talk about what could be in a class fee in just a moment.
So now we have a 2-day reunion package. That includes your Saturday lunch and dinner, the registration fee, and all the reunion programming on Saturday and Sunday. So that's the programming your class sets up and the association. And then if you're coming in on Saturday and you just want to do the Saturday package, to add lodging on, it's still $100 for the Friday, Saturday night, and it includes breakfast. So you're looking at $201 plus the $100, so you're looking at $301 if you're not going to attend your Friday night dinner.
There is no option for a one-night stay, you'll notice. This is a Friday, Saturday package for overnight.
And what's the logic for that?
So we were able to negotiate with the college based on a 2-night stay, including breakfast, to get these prices down. And you'll see these prices are quite less than $380. So we did this because we partnered with the college to make it better for you. Does that answer?
So the bringing it down, the compromise was adding the second night, but
Right.
even if you're not staying the night, it's still
It's
less.
still less, yes.
Yeah, and you get breakfast.
And
it's a hot breakfast.
And we'll talk about that soon.
And previously, those breakfasts were in your class fees, and we're gonna get to that in a little bit. So that was part, the class had to pay, they didn't provide for that breakfast in their class fee. So that, now it's covered by the college, so in that package.
Okay. So, one of the things that we thought would also be helpful is for you all to be able to have ease in planning. So we're trying to make it easy for the reunion planners, and the package, including all the meals, takes the onus off you worrying about planning the meals. Okay? So,
It also, for anyone that's worried about allergies, food limitations and things like that, that is also taken off your plate.
one of the other, yes?
If you're coming to the reunion but not staying in the dorm, do you still have to pay the full amount?
No, you don't have to pay for the lodging part, you just pay for the meal package. That's another benefit. If you're coming to campus for a reunion and you happen to stay at an Airbnb or a friend's house, you can purchase that meal package alone without the housing.
Yeah.
Good.
Yep.
So you can purchase
So
the
that would be-
left column, just
Yeah.
the 2-day reunion package, or the 3-day reunion package, whichever you prefer.
So, yes,
Can you not have the meal package, but still have the reunion and the overnight?
no, you need to purchase the meal package because it includes your registration fee and it'll also include your class fee if you provide one. So in order to come to reunion and register for reunion, you have to purchase either the 2-day or the 3-day package, the meal package.
So the way to spend it is you're registering and you happen to get meals for free, is another way to spend it.
I guess?
Yeah.
Meals are all encompassed.
It's all inclusive.
Yes.
We'll do one more question and then I'm gonna have Janet keep going, because if you're not a visual learner with these flow charts, she actually put it in writing on the next couple slides, which I liked myself, so she's gonna review it one more time, but all in written version. But let's do one more question.
The $100 for meals is per person, per day, per?
The $100 is for your overnights and breakfast.
Just your bed. Each bed is $50, so.
No, each bed is $100.
$100,
Yes,
that's right,
with
for 2 nights,
breakfast.
because $50 a night, so it's not, yeah, it'll be $100.
Well, it's $200.
Is it the lodging question or
It
the
is-
meal
it is-
package question?
It's not $100. The Friday, Saturday package for overnight is $100 total. It's not $100 for Friday and $100 for Saturday. It's $100 total, and you can think of it as a bed and breakfast type package. It includes sleeping in the dorm, in your bed, and it includes a nice hot breakfast. Each morning. 2 mornings. 2 mornings.
So if you wanted to bring someone, it would be 200 then?
Correct.
And that doesn't include any meals?
It does not
includes
include.
breakfast.
Right.
But you can't come on campus and stay on campus without purchasing the meal package, because that's where your registration comes into play.
Yeah.
What might an option be for someone who would like to come for one day, to not stay over, possibly have a lunch meal, and possibly have the class dinner on a Saturday?
So that's probably the 2-day option, which is the
have to
Saturday,
wait for 2 days.
Sunday. Because a majority of the 2-day option, Saturday, Sunday, is all the stuff that happens on Saturday.
Got it.
So it's this package.
So the
Minus
2-day
the
package.
lodge, but minus the lodge.
Right.
So if they come for one day, they pay for the 2-day package, which includes Saturday meals.
So I'm going to have Janet move on to the next slide, because again, it's more the listing of these options.
Okay, so just to break it down for those who are not visual with the graphs, the Friday through Sunday package includes Friday dinner, Saturday lunch, Saturday dinner, the association fee, which we'll go through soon, and then your class fee, which you set. The 2-day package, which is the Saturday through Sunday, includes Saturday lunch, Saturday dinner, the association fee, and then any class fee that you decide is appropriate.
So why are we calling it through Sunday?
Because there's programming on Sunday. Classes have programming on Sunday.
But none of those things happen that you listed happen on Sunday.
Right, but the class may decide to have their class meeting Sunday morning or.
I understand,
Okay.
I'm just saying as a cost package.
A cost package.
Your point is we're really paying for Saturday.
You're paying for all the meat of Saturday.
And so people who want to come for one day, that's really what it is.
Yeah.
Wouldn't come on Sunday.
Yeah.
So the meals included in the package, again, Friday night dinner. So again, we were able to negotiate with the college to open the community center on Friday night for alums to come back and enjoy dinner. So they don't have to worry about going off campus for dinner, and you don't have to worry about feeding them in the dorm.
So many of you are probably remembering on Friday nights you have cold pizza sitting in your dorm, or you're having takeout delivered in. This way, now you're getting a delicious meal in the community center. And really this slide is just us helping to be transparent here, so you can see what the college gave us for costs. We're not delineating these costs out to our guests. It's all part of the 2-day or 3-day package, but we're showing you that it's actually could be a good deal for you.
The wine is
if you're
endless?
comparing. So let me tell you, the wine is included in the Saturday night dinner. We do not have wine included in the Friday night
But
dinner.
it's endless.
But yeah.
Union chairs.
Union chairs, let's go, right?
Yes.
So there is no wiggle room around Friday night dinner. So for example, as a theater reunion class, we would have to serve this package. We wouldn't be able to be voted to opt out of the Friday night dinner.
They could purchase the 2-day package,
Yeah,
which
that's-
includes the Saturday lunch, Saturday dinner.
Yeah.
They-
So as you're planning your reunion, if you guys decide that you want to host a dinner Friday night and you would rather do that, then you would, in your communications with your class, communicate that they should purchase the 2-day package because you're going to charge part of your class fee to bring in dinner Friday night and all those things. And we can talk more about that in detail later.
But if you're a reunion planner, keep in mind that Friday night dinner, you're getting to campus, you're trying to set things up for Saturday, there's a lot of things going on. It might be easier for you not to have to worry about a Friday dinner. So that's why it's part of the package.
And it's a casual dinner, so people can come, and they've extended the hours to stay open till 8:30. And if there's anybody running late, so for instance, our registration, our check-in room is open till 9. Someone's running late, they're not gonna make it here by 8:30. If they call to let us know that, the dining services people will put together meals and send them over to the association so that if they've already paid for the Friday night dinner and they're going to be here before we close at 9, we'll have them available to them. Yes?
When is the community center with dining set to open? Like when will
In January.
And it's on time.
It's on time, yes. It will be open for students no matter what in January. They come back.
Yeah.
There might be
This
holes.
project has been shockingly on time all along.
Yeah.
That's good.
You know, they opened the community part.
Yep.
Yeah. Yes, you had a question?
Could you go over that if you're having your Friday night dinner off campus?
how that's handled.
So we wouldn't, your classmates would then purchase the 2-day package, which
Right.
would not include Friday night dinner. It would just include the lunch on Saturday and the dinner on Saturday. And then you would handle your Friday night dinner separately.
But if they were staying in the dorm.
They could still purchase-
If they're going to be here for the whole, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
They could still sleep in the dorm Friday and Saturday night. And then they would purchase the 2-day package, which would include, so they're purchasing their room, and that will include breakfast. And then they'll purchase the 2-day package, which includes lunch on Saturday and dinner on Saturday.
So what's neat is that
And registration.
the programming and food is separate from the housing. So the housing is the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So if you're doing a separate dinner on Friday, they can still purchase whatever they want in the housing option. The 2-day or they could also purchase Thursday if they're coming in early, or not stay, right?
They would sign up for the Friday night dinner and pay what we determine that the dinner's going to cost.
That would be in your class fee.
Your class That would be included in the class.
Yes.
We put that in class.
Yep. If
So
there,
you would subtract it from this?
it would not necessarily get subtracted because you wouldn't have it included in the 2-day meal package option. Friday dinner is not included.
So 2 days, remember?
All right.
What time does the dinner start?
Okay, so here we go.
What time would dinner start on Friday night?
I think they said 5 to 8:30 for a reunion.
And then just something that came up in the parking lot a moment ago about, are we going to have non-alcoholic beverages that may be of specialty options? And if you took the tour yesterday, you were probably impressed by the beverage banks that they were describing, where it sounds like they're going to have all sorts of fabulous beverages with lots of added, you can do a squirt of this and a squirt of that, you can have this made and so on. So there is going to be an endless supply of options as far as non-alcoholic beverages.
So going back to this slide here to kind of clarify a little. So if your class decides that you're doing dinner offsite on Friday night, your classmates would see your classmate would see the package on the right-hand side, which is the Saturday through Sunday package. And they would purchase the package that includes the lunch on Saturday and the dinner on Saturday, their fees, the association fees, and then your class fee. And then they would add on their lodging if they wanted to stay on campus separately.
And that would be the 2-day package.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the lodging is where the breakfast is.
Yeah.
The lodging includes the breakfast. So if you have the lodging, you get the hot breakfast.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if we're not having the Saturday night dinner on campus, can that be subtracted and still get that 2-day, but we would subtract the $35?
We will have to talk about that. I'm not sure how we're going to handle that. Yes.
Is the Saturday night dinner a sit-down dinner, or is it like how?
It'll be buffet style. It'll be in the community center. There'll be separate rooms, and we'll go through that later. Yes.
If you have significant others that want to have cable TV in their room and, private bathrooms and whatever, and are staying somewhere else, but they're still gonna be here to eat, what is going to be the fee for them if they just want to have food?
So there is a guest meal package, and it's $70 for the 3-day option.
Okay, perfect.
Great question.
I just want to say 2 things. I think we can do 2 things. I think after this, maybe, because if there are this many questions now, we have to assume all of your classmates will have them. We probably should do a couple of charts with scenarios.
Yes.
There's a few that are coming up, and we could make this really crystal clear. That we can, yes, and we can label them right so everyone knows.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to mention is we got a lot of, what drove this above and beyond the community center is Janet and team have gotten a lot of feedback to look at this. And we did a lot of benchmarking, and some of our sister schools and others have these packages, and they seem to be working very effectively. So that's what drove a lot of the conversation around looking at a different way of packaging reunion. The community center happened to be a catalyst,
But if you go to Smith, if you look at some of the other colleges, many of them for years have done packages. And we talked to some alums and they seem to respond really well to it. So this is the first year of it, but we can help make it crystal clear for all of the questions that you guys are raising today.
And there's a question here about needing to be more clear on the names of the packages, and we
Yes.
understand that, so we'll work on
Yeah.
that. Yeah, we'll work on
Yeah,
that.
I think,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right.
So,
Alex.
Yes.
What is the Alumni Association registration fee?
I love that question. Thank you. So, last year we used this slide, everyone loved it. So we're doing it again. So the Alumni Association registration fee is on a sliding scale. Our 2-year class pays the least. Our 5-year class pays a little bit more, and then all other classes pay the $150 Alumni Association fee. And that Alumni Association fee covers all sorts of things that go into the reunion. Things like golf carts for parades for the loyalty classes, wheelchairs, reunion signage all throughout campus, security for the parade and non-class events, marching bands for the parades, flowers for presidents and seniors, food at affinity receptions, activities on the green during reunion that are happening both in Reunion 1 and in Reunion 2 now, registration refreshments, printed schedules, brochures, name tags, all of the student workers, set up and clean up by the association and college staff, and so on and so on and so on. There were many more things that could have gone onto this list, but these were kind of the key ones. So there are lots of things that we as a whole community support to make sure that the reunion feels and looks like we've been used to have it in. So we also shared last year that that $150 fee, although it seems high, actually does not cover 100% of the cost of all of these items. It just offsets some of the cost for the whole total reunion across the Alumni Association and college.
Yeah,
So
I calculated that the association budget covers about 30% of the cost.
Perfect. Yep.
I have a question about the golf carts and the wheelchairs. Is that just for the parades, or is that for people who need them to get around on campus?
So it's
for other events?
It's primarily for parade, but we do have them available for people on demand. So if someone calls and says, I need a ride from Buckland to the art museum, and it's quicker for us to get you in a golf cart and bring you over if it's just a few people. So they're driving around campus helping.
And we have our students, so we have student workers that are in the office all weekend, and you all will know the number to call, and you just call and we send someone over with a golf cart.
And it is student workers that drive those. Student workers and Alumni Association staff. Nobody else can drive them.
Again, on transportation, we're going to need to have a minibus to get us to our Friday dinner that's on at the Orchards.
Okay.
I was told that that has to.
Yes, to the orchards, yes, because it's part of the college. Any other off-campus, we don't provide transportation.
No,
Yeah.
I talked about that. But what I'm wondering is, how and when does that get arranged ahead of time?
It'll get arranged through our office as we're preparing the schedule, and I'll communicate with you directly about that.
And the other thing is that since we're in one of the classes that's aided and infirm, are we going to have golf courses more readily, golf carts more readily available?
Yes, they're actually based right outside Abbey.
Yeah, yeah.
So they're right over by Abbey Buckland, so they're accessible, and if you needed a ride, most likely there's someone walking around out there or riding around, you can just hop on a car.
But the other thing we did starting this year is we have Alumni Association staff will be with your class, assigned to your class the whole time in the dorm. So you will always have someone that you can go to as a contact,
Yes.
and that worked really well last year.
That's very good.
From 7 in the
really
morning,
helpful.
from 7 in the morning to I think even 9 or 10 at night.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking that, as a group, we're probably gonna need more transportation
Right.
around
Yeah, they can
campus,
help.
So-
no matter where they're going.
Right, so if you're going to a class event that's large for your class, we would provide you a minibus to bring more than, yes. So if you're doing dinner at Willett's, we would get a minibus to bring you over there. So the transportation schedule gets created once we see what you're all doing. So that's why it's important to get that to me, so we can plan that. Yes?
I may have missed this, and so what we plan to do is survey the class and find out how many people definitely can't walk any distance. So can we give you a reserve number that we can have allocated so we know in the morning when things are going to start that we've got those?
So when they register, they need to make sure they put that in the special instructions individually when they register. So you'll get a paper, yes, and you'll get a paper registration. Everyone in your class will get a paper registration. And they just need to put that on there. And then we keep track of that, and we keep track of what dorm they're in, and so we're conscious of that and know what's going on.
But we still have to call to get them.
Unless it's a scheduled move for your whole class to go from here to here, then yes, you do need to call.
But if it is a scheduled move, we can say we're going to need this many.
Yes.
She'll already have it on her schedule.
We'll already have it all,
Yep.
as long as they register in advance for that.
And we
But
did it
let's
this
say-
past May, and it worked.
Yeah, it worked really well.
It really worked beautifully.
But if someone wants to go, let's just say you all, it's downtime and someone from your class wants to go somewhere, up to town or whatever, we can get them, they can call the Alumni Association number, and that's off schedule. That's 2 or 3 people that just need a ride.
But we only do transportation on campus.
Right.
Golf carts
Yeah,
and
we
vans
can't
stay
go
on
on the
campus.
main road.
We can't go out on the
We
main
can get you
roads.
close.
So, okay, so.
We get you across the street.
Can't get across the street.
Right.
Right, we
The
can
golf
get
carts,
you
we can't drive across the street.
At the 50th reunion, I would say there was like a 1-minute wait.
Yes, thank you.
Right. Someone
Yeah.
wanted to go to the art museum, they called from the desk, and before they had their purse all set, there was
Yeah.
somebody there, so.
It was fabulous this last week.
Yeah.
Great, the next thing, so we kept talking about this class fee, right? So these are some of the things that might be included in your class fee. So class fees include the cost for the parade accessory, the booklet or special project that you might have, if you want to do it. These are all things that if you want to do them. Decorations in your dorm, hospitality. So hospitality can include a lot of different things. A reception before dinner on Saturday night, if you want food or drinks or things like that. Your parade signs, if you're adding any more parade signs to your existing collection, if you're going to have someone from your class create all new parade signs, if you're going to have the Alumni Association create the parade signs, and any other miscellaneous expenses. So again, these class fees, this is controlled by the class. So you as a class, and I would suggest that the reunion chairs and the reunion committee work with your treasurer to really decide how much each of these things cost, and then decide if that cost is going to be passed off, for lack of better words, to each individual member of the class to pay in a class fee, or if your class has some funds in their treasury and they want to cover the cost of certain items in this list, you as a class board with your treasurer, president, and so on, can figure out if the class wants to take money out of your class treasury to cover this. So there's always some benefits and negatives to doing either one. So certainly a benefit to having the class treasury cover a majority of these costs would be that it's going to keep the overall cost for your classmates to come back to reunion lower. But a negative there would be if you're taking several $1,000s out of your class treasury to cover these items, then your class treasury is being depleted. So you do need to have a conversation as a class board about what your goals are and what your thoughts are within that realm. You can certainly do a 50-50. Let's say when you add up all these items, it's about $50 per person. Your class can say, well, we'll cover 25 of it and our class fee will just be $25. Also, I'll get to you, Linda. Also, historically, looking back, I just did my 15-year reunion a couple years ago. Our class fee was right around $45. But our class fee included a lot of things that we no longer have to think about with the package. So our class fee included that pizza and beer and soda and whatnot dinner that happened on Friday night. If I'm using the package, I don't need to keep that in my class fee. It also included additional snack items throughout the day and things like that that may not need to be included now because of our dining package. So you do want to think about that flexibility. I know right off the top of my head, if I was taking off the Friday dinner, I would probably reduce my class fee down to $25 without even thinking about the minute details about costs of certain items. Linda.
Okay, with absolutely nothing in the dorm, like refrigerators, like ice to keep beer cold or white wine cold, no plastic, no dishes, no anyone that wants morning coffee. I know one class bought 3 huge Keurig coffee makers and had those in the dorm for anyone that wanted to either eat off schedule or not go to the community center, or, you know, even though they pay for breakfast, they're late for the parade, so they just want to grab their coffee and go. What is your suggestion regarding how to manage those costs? Because, you know, Debbie and I recruited our husbands to do ice runs. And said, okay, we want to figure out. And as you know, people are accustomed to having a lot of this, quote, available for informal gatherings. So I'd like to hear about what your thoughts are with this when your options either do something in a refrigerator or to eat in your dorm is really eliminated or at least severely limited.
So the first thing that I would suggest to anyone asking me that question would be to reach out to past reunion chairs who have done that. Because I've got a couple of classmates here that on the classes reunion committee, I don't have classmates, they're classes reunion committee, who did that this year. Mona's class provided snacks and drinks for their classmates all weekend long.
Correct.
And so she had to budget that as well as Linda's class. They did it for all weekend long. So my recommendation would be to reach out to classes that have done it in the past, and you're welcome to call me or email me, and I can give you their names, and you can reach out to them directly.
The
to get the
Keurig
advice.
was the big thing, because some people want coffee in the afternoon or night or the.
And bringing, you can also ask classmates to volunteer. I brought my Keurig to our last reunion, and we kept it in the lobby and we all pitched in and bought a big box of Keurig pods or a couple, and we just kept it down there. So, that way you eliminate the cost of actually buying the equipment, and you just loan it out for the weekend, keep a pitcher of water next to it, and everybody can access it. Buy a thing of cups, you're all set.
We have fruit, nuts, things like that, bags of
I'm not worried about
chips.
the food part. I'm thinking more about the liquid consumption.
Well, that's part of the logistical issue with why having dinners at the community center makes it a lot easier. It's a logistical nightmare trying to get ice and all this. And you will obviously have drinks and all of those things. There's lots of creative solutions that we will talk about as we talk about reunion planning. But you can also, when you sit down with your class board and you're recruiting your reunion committee chairs, you can say, okay, we want someone to just be in charge of ice, or we want people to volunteer to do ice ships, and that could be someone's role. Or you can budget and say, we want to have ice delivered at these times, and you build that into what is going to be part of your class fee. You have a lot of flexibility, so that way if you want to build it into a fee, you can. Or it could be, okay, we have 10 people signed up to go every 3 hours to wherever you're going to go.
And before you get down to the logistical part, you really have to back up and take a look at what you've decided your goals are for your reunion. What are you trying to achieve? What kind of atmosphere do you want in your dorm? What kind of activities? What kind of feeling do you want? And then from that will flow the kinds of things that make sense for your class based on the goals you have for that. And that becomes very important during this weekend, because then you're going to move into going into the specifics and including the budgeting for all of this. So, but think a little bigger to begin with, and then put it through the sieve, and it'll feel right as you start to move down for what is good for your particular class.
And I'm correct that the community center is closed on Saturday afternoon from 2 to 5.
I don't know the answer to that question right this
Getting
minute.
ready for dinner?
Um,
Yeah, that, I seems to me
They
yesterday
did say
we
that,
heard that.
and then he said, well, it'll be
But then he
open.
said it was open all day, so I need to
think-
clarify it. For reunion weekend, it will probably be different than it is when the students are here. But as soon as I get that information, I'll let everyone know.
Okay, all right.
I do have a couple of parking lot questions. So where are our signs from past reunions and want to reuse some? So you will get a list from me, probably in February timeframe of the reunion signs we have in inventory. And you will decide then if you want to reuse them, throw away any, or order any, or order any. So you'll get that information probably in February timeframe. And then there's another question, is the class fee your class dues?
No.
We'll talk about your budgets later today.
Right. And then the question was, okay, I think this was the same one Linda just said, will the community center be open throughout the day for people to buy items? And again, I don't know the answer to that question right now. They're still trying to figure out the hours and menus right now.
Linda had a follow-up. Getting back to the signs, if we're not gonna get that till February, and we're supposed to have it back to you like March 1st of how many signs we want, do you think we could have it sooner?
Well, I send it out at the very beginning. I usually give you all a month from the time I send the message out to when it's due. So I give you, I mean, if you want me to pull them for you on an individual basis, you can send me an email, I can send them off to you.
Good, okay.
Just a quick question on the signs again.
Yes.
If we decide we want to make a new sign, is it per sign? How much is the cost?
Well, if you order them through us, it's $35 per sign, and it's a standardized square, colors, all match up, and you'll look similar to the other classes.
Was that 25 or 30?
35.
And I'm gonna put this out there, my class made our own signs for our 2-year reunion, and it was a lot of work, and they looked not great, because we were not artistic. And so something to keep in mind is that, like, if you have someone in your class who's like a visual artist and they're gonna make beautiful signs, awesome, that could be something you do. If you do not have this resource available to you, it is worth the money to buy the sign. That means no one is driving up with signs in the back of their car, or trying to get on a plane with signs, I promise.
So I got another one here that says, if someone's really late, will the classes be able to get the Friday meal from registration to have in the dorm? And we do, if we know, yes, we can. But we have to know before 9 o'clock, well, around between 8:30 and 9. We have to know before that. And you'll just call the check-in desk, which is Louisa. I don't know if she's still here in the room. Yeah, she's right there. Louisa, and she'll manage that. If you're coming in late, we'll make sure we have meals. And someone can actually, from your dorm, would have to come pick it up, obviously. But yes, the answer is yes.
Okay. Perfect. The next one, I do think we have talked a little bit about this, but I did want to just reiterate. So we know it's $100 for the Friday, Saturday overnight total, not $100 per night, total. And then we do have a Thursday overnight option. So if you are coming in Thursday, it's $50 to stay overnight on Thursday, and that does include breakfast. So people that typically come on Thursday, our 50th reunion class typically comes back on Thursday night. And then in reunion 2, the 55th and the 60th typically come back on Thursday night. We also, some class officers like to come back on Thursday night so that they're here ahead of time. So maybe the president is coming back. Probably your reunion chairs are coming
Definitely
back.
your reunion
Right?
chair.
Yeah. Those people are coming back on Thursday night so that they can be here to get ready and start getting things set up for when registration opens, to general classes at noontime on Friday. So Thursday night is an option. Now, this is a little confusing, but I know you're going to get it. Each class has 8 free beds
Thursday night.
for Thursday night. So that means that when you register, if you're the class president, you're going to register for Thursday night for $50. You're going to register for your 2-night package if you're staying on campus and whatever else. You're going to pay the $50 to register to come back on Thursday night. And then you're going to submit to Janet a reimbursement request for a portion of that $50 that covers your bed, but not your breakfast. So it's not going to be the whole $50. It's probably going to be $40. Okay, so we will come up with the plan for how to submit that reimbursement so that your class only submits the 8. Janet will contact you and give you, here's the reimbursement form, list your 8 people.
Yes, that's the
You
important
do
thing.
not have to use all 8 of those free beds if you don't want to. It's probably wise to have as many people here as possible to get yourself going, but you don't have to use them. So it's 8 free beds, not breakfast. And you have to pay it when you register. You're going to get reimbursed.
And it's important for someone in your committee, whether it's a reunion chair or the president, to give me that list of 8 people, so we're not reimbursing more. I'll only reimburse up to 8 per class.
She's going to give you a specific form to fill out, right? For those 8 people. Okay? Yes?
Is that the same for 2 years?
It is. It's the same for all classes. Yep. Yeah.
Okay, if you could do a total for me, let's say, okay, you're coming Friday and you're getting your package, it includes everything for
Yep,
Friday?
everything.
Okay, so there's a price for that, right?
Yes.
And then the price for the room,
Yep.
which is 100.
219 and 100 puts you at 319.
319. Where's the, is the alumni office fee is already in the?
It's already in the 219.
So it's 319 plus the cost.
Plus whatever your class decides to add on. You might like to add on to a certain round number amount. You might like to stay right at 319. It's up to your class.
So that isn't that much below.
It's
380. It's
it's not that much below, but when you look at, the range of classes, 380 was the average. Now we're bringing our bottom line average down into the 320, which is lower than 380, and we're trying to get it down, but that's where we are at this point. At least we're not going up, and costs are going up all around, so we are going down.
So it includes 3 meals, a breakfast, and 2 nights.
Yeah. Two breakfasts, 2 breakfasts, all your meals on Saturday, all your program activities, your beautiful parade costume, and all of the experiences. Okay, one question here.
What if you don't want the breakfast for the Thursday?
It's just part of the package.
Part of the deal.
It's a
Then breakfast.
done deal.
I had a question on the parking lot. It says, can we let people pay in installments? We do not have an installment plan available. I'm not sure who answered
You
that.
take PayPal. If you do, you'll start being able to offer that.
Louisa,
by the way. Sorry.
She's asking about whether we would accept through PayPal.
I can talk to you later.
Yeah, I think we need to.
The way our current system works is we can't register anybody until they pay in full.
No,
So we
I'll
would be able to
talk
install.
to you guys later about it as an option thing.
I just wanted to say I'm 08 and I asked that question because there's been a lot of conversation in my class about, the expense of reunion. And I think that this is an incredibly reasonable plan, but I think that it will sound more reasonable if people don't have to pay the entire $380 up front. If they're like, okay, I have $100 now, I can pay $100. So that's why I asked that.
So Louisa can speak to that.
Some information. I was going to come talk to you. Because we did at one point have a payment plan, and not enough people participated. I don't know, it wasn't all that long ago. And we didn't really have a lot of people participating, and it was very confusing because I had a significant number of people who would pay throughout the year. And then when they go to register, they pay the full amount again. And we'd have to figure out who they were and reimburse their incremental payments. So it just really didn't work out.
And I just wanted to respond to some of the ideas about can we get a breakfast here or this meal here. The way we were able to negotiate some really good rates with the college is to have a standardized package, right?
Marcia,
We have to customize.
Stand up and yell.
If you have to customize everything, it's more costly. So the way those rates came down as much as they did was by creating some standard packages.
And it'll encourage more people to attend more things, and it becomes fun that way too.
It also makes registration much simpler. There's less, I remember registering for my last reunion and question after question. You have to register for yourself, then you have to register for your guests, and you have to register for your children. And this way, it's like pick, done. It's a much easier way to register. Streamlined. That's the word.
So, going along with costs and thinking about how to keep costs down, someone asked if alums have sponsored things for reunion, and you can certainly do that as a class. I can tell from class of 2001, we had a classmate purchase all the alcohol for Saturday cocktail hour, and that was amazing. And then someone else could sponsor something else. I think they had a connection. But anyways, but you can have people sponsor things. We also are going to share with you some information in a little while about when you're creating your budget, about classes can offer a scholarship. So hold that thought. We'll tell you what the scholarship means. But as a class board, you can decide to set money aside as a scholarship for people. So we'll talk about scholarships. There's a whole slide on scholarships.
I would encourage you to think about a different characterization of that it is financial assistance or something besides scholarship.
Okay.
Okay, good point.
And that
Good point.
it isn't a scholarship, and that there are people, well, as you know, it's a sensitive issue, but I would encourage you to think about your nomenclature when it comes to that particular item.
Perfect. Good. Thank you. Yep. For that. Good. Okay, so I am going to pass it off now to Bridget, who's going to guide us through, well, what do I need to know about building a budget, what things are going to be included, and talk through those steps.
So I know that right now we're all thinking about like, how are we going to reduce this cost? How are we going to sell this to our classmates? Where do I even begin? We're dealing with a very low amount of people, a community center that's not open yet, we don't know what it looks like, there's these renderings. We're dealing with a lot of things. And so we're going to talk about building this budget, and then we're going to talk about ways to market, how we're going to get people to pay this later. I promise we'll hit that. So in terms of things like this, your reunion budget, some things are very set, right? So the fees that your classmates are paying, some of them are very set. So you're not worried about, as a class board, the meals that your classmates are prepaying for, their beds are being prepaid for, all of those things are being prepaid for. And as you start to build your budget, you have to go back to what Mona suggested, and what's your goal? Is your goal to get the highest number of people back on campus? Is your goal to reach out to classmates who have never been back to campus since they graduated 5, 10, 15, 20, 50, 70 years ago? What are you trying to do? Are you trying to have people make new friends? Are you trying to have people connect on different levels than they have before? Do you want to throw a slamming party? Do you want to have an academic lecture? You as a class board, based on the needs of your classmates who you have been elected to represent, need to decide what your goal is. And this goal should go without saying, represent the needs of your class, right? If you want to have a party in your class, you're all allowed to have a lecture, kind of work it out. But you were elected by your classmates, and you were slated by your classmates, and so theoretically, you're going to have a conversation with your class board. And once you start talking about your goal, your answers will
provide your guidance.
Provide what's going to do things for you. So you're going to be able to see what the idea is and what you want to do and give you the guidance you need to move forward, right? And so if your goal is to keep things as inexpensive as possible, you're going to have different costumes than maybe someone who wants to have the best or most expensive costume parade. If your goal is to include the most class members, your end line might be different. If your goal is to win a cup award at the Alumni Association meeting on Saturday, your goal is going to be different than somebody else's. And so it's something to keep in mind, okay? So what's in the piggy bank? Many of you, anybody a treasurer in here aside from me, Melissa? Oh, good. All right, so we have a few treasurers. So you'll understand what I'm talking about. And many of you are very comfortable with your treasurers and doing your treasurers, and you might not. Pass this information on to them. That's my first advice, okay? What's in the piggy bank? Your treasurer just submitted in the last month or so a Form C to the Alumni Association, which means they should have a pretty good idea of what is in your bank account as of today. Okay? So you need to get on the horn with your treasurer and say, hey, how much money do we have? Is any of it tied up somewhere? Because you can have depending on your class year and what kind of investments you have, you might have money in a CD that's maturing, or you might have money that's in a savings account that you can't access. Most of you probably don't. Most of you have money in a checking and a savings account at a local bank to your treasurer that you can access at a moment's notice. But it's good to know how much is there. Is it And no matter how much money you have in the piggy bank, you can have reunion. So if you have $50,000 in your treasury, awesome, you're doing great. If
That would be shocking.
Yeah, you should not have $50,000. If you have $55 in your treasury, okay, we can work on this, but you can have reunion. Take a deep breath. Okay, so no matter what's in there, you can start, but it will help you start to budget what's going on. You can't say, actually, we're not gonna have a class fee. Oh, we have $7. That's not what that's anymore, right? Oh, we have $40,000. Maybe we won't charge a class fee. Okay, so you need to look at what's in the bank and be realistic about the needs of your classmates, what your goal is, and what you're looking for. Okay? And so your treasuries can supplement the cost of reunion. Reunion is open to your entire class, and your class treasury belongs to your class. This is one of the ways that Mount Holyoke reunions are very unique. A lot of other colleges and alumni associations or alumni associations sponsor reunion, and your class plans a couple of activities, but the college or association handles everything. We drive our reunions with our own programming, and as a result of that, our money is ours. And those of you who aren't treasurers may know or not know that when you graduated, you had a bank account, you opened a bank account that says Mount Holyoke College Alumni Association class of whatever, or some name thereof. And it is your money, which is why we have to file this nice form that we fill in and give to Jan. Okay? Actually to Karen. Okay, so the things that are covered as part of your class treasury. Reunion mailings, if you send out a postcard, if you send out information, if you send out a paper registration package, any mailings that go out can be taken out of your class treasury. Any administrative costs, right? So I'm on the decoration committee and I'm picking up the streamers to decorate the dorms. Anything along those lines would be those administrative costs. Honorary guests, if you're having a speaker come in and your speaker is going to give a lecture and they need somewhere to stay for the night and an accommodation, that can come out of your class treasury. If you're hiring a DJ for a party, that can come out of your class treasury. If you're paying, the mixologist to come for your cocktail hour, that can be part of it, okay? Reunion, scholarships, names to be revisited, reunion, whatever it is. If you're going to say, you know what, we would like to provide opportunities for some of our classmates who cannot otherwise be here, whether it's need-based. I know a lot of classes do a raffle. We have 3 reunion packages to raffle off. And just, fill out this form, enter your name, and we'll randomly pick it out of the hat. It can also count for gifts if you're giving gifts to the college, or honorariums, things like that too, or in memoriams. And anything that exceeds the standardized fees. There's a lot of things that this might be, and we can revisit them as we get there. But your class treasury, if you want to send a mailing out, that can come out of your class treasury fee. So these are the things that you can use your treasury for a lot of things. So as we come up to reunion, which is in 8 months, as we were reminded this morning, okay, your treasury is kind of like front-loading the cost of reunion. So as bills come in from the college or from the caterer, or from not the caterer, the printer, or from the DJ, as bills come in, your treasurer is writing a check out of your treasury. Now, this is why it's helpful to have some money in your treasury, but it's okay if you don't, okay? But theoretically, all the upfront costs. So if I'm the decorations chair, we've decided as a reunion committee and class board that we want to have aprons as our costume for little break. We can use the class treasury to write a check for those aprons, right? And those aprons get paid for. And then we might say, ooh, we can't afford to buy aprons for all 100 of our classmates that are marching. So we're going to build the cost of that apron, or part of the cost of that apron, into our class fee otherwise. But that initial check that goes out, can come out of your class treasury, okay? Essentially, a check from the Alumni Association for class and guest fees collected are sent to the class treasurers in late April. If you had to collect all of the registration fees and dorm fees and meal fees and disperse it, it would be a disaster, and your treasurer would be like the woman in the first line with her hair out. Okay? So the Alumni Association collects these fees for us. They use the resources they have. You can get on, use your credit card, whatever it is that people do. And then when they get all the fees, they send the class board a bill, but they also will reimburse you for, so if you set your class fee at, say, $50 or whatever you want it to be, they'll collect all the classmates, and then they'll write you a check, and then you can put it back in. Okay? So, the treasurer is responsible for recording all reunion transactions and closing the books with the reunion chair. Your treasurer and your reunion chairs will be very good friends, because nobody gets paid without the treasurer. Okay? So, it's helpful to obviously have these conversations early, set budgets. You don't want someone coming in being like, oh, I spent $6,000 renting this popcorn machine. It's like, what? We don't have $6,000. You're insane. Hopefully these things have been discussed ahead of time, and you can say, okay, I put this on my credit card, I need a check back, or you're gonna get, this needs to be sent out, we're gonna go pick up this thing, we're gonna pick up the ice, here's a check to pay the Iceman, along those lines. And then the idea is a final budget, including all the actual reunion costs, not just your predicted costs, will be submitted to the classes in your community. I can talk. Once reunion happens, you're having this great time, everything's fabulous. Afterward, you have about 2 months, a little bit more than 2 months, to submit a final actual budget to your classes and committee reunion liaison. That's us. Okay? With everything. Why do we collect this? We're not Big Brother, we're not keeping up checking tabs on you, but next year when we run this training, someone's like, I have no idea how much it costs to run this 25th reunion. We can be like, boom, here's what they did last year. So it's not because we want to be in the minutia of how much money you spent on streamers, although it's good to know. But it's building upon what other classes have done. So you can say, actually, if you're going to rent a popcorn machine, this company over in Hadley is really, really good. Or this place delivers ice, but this place has a better rate. It also helps us build our repertoire of resources, and it lets us present information to the next class because it sometimes feels like we're reinventing the wheel, even though every year we run reunions. And this way we were taking some of that home. Everybody with me so far? Yes. Okay.
Can I just say, the other thing is when you ask someone to chair something, lots of times she'll turn around and say, how much money do I have to do that? If you don't have a budget, you can't tell her, okay? So you have to be prepared.
So setting up, we got a lot of questions in the last few years about setting up a PayPal account. Apparently there's a few PayPal experts in the room, so we can talk more about this later. But you can set up a PayPal account for your class. This will largely be used to set up class dues, right? So theoretically, and this would be a treasurer conversation, your classes may charge class dues to your members. You talked about this, it's in your bylaws, there's been conversations. You can actually have your classmates pay their class dues via PayPal. You don't necessarily have to write a check or pay cash, they can do it via PayPal. To set up a PayPal account, you go to this lovely website. I'm not gonna read the URL, because you can all read, okay? And you're gonna click sign up, business account, and standard. And then you're gonna create an account.
You need your taxpayer ID.
Yes, you need your EIN number. Your treasurer will know what that is.
Yes, your class, every class has its own EIN number.
And if you don't know what I'm talking about, write that down and circle it, and we can come back to it, and your treasurer should know what we're talking about. And if your treasurer doesn't know what we're talking about, you need to talk to your committee leader. So you are going to create a PayPal button. Okay, this is the way you create a PayPal button. You log in, you click on tools, all tools, go to PayPal button, click open, related item, then create a new button. I imagine you're going to use these buttons on a website. So once you make your button, you're going to copy the HTML snippet from PayPal and go to your website. Paste to the body of your website or add a PayPal widget and paste your snippet there. Guys, I am relatively tech illiterate, and I was able to follow these steps, so I have faith that all of you can.
And people put it on Facebook too.
Right, excellent. So a lot of classes don't have websites, but they do have Facebook. You can put it on your Facebook page.
It also makes collecting dues, so your class meeting, the weekend of reunion, when you announce what your dues are for the next 5 years, if you give people the address, the email address of your PayPal account, they can send you money from their own PayPal or a credit card or their bank account instantly. My class collected probably about $500 in dues at class meeting through PayPal 2 years ago. So it's awesome. It makes it so much easier, and people just do it.
Keep going. Okay, so the bottom line. So we're all freaking out. Some of you are like, what's dues? We've never charged dues. Have we charged dues? Have I paid dues? These are a lot of questions.
Yep.
And that's okay. It's okay to have these questions, and we can return to this. I know it's very confusing because it's not a lot of your roles. And so take notes, refer, talk to your treasurers when you leave here this weekend, or send them a text during lunch. find out what's going on, and then if you have questions, refer back to us. That's number one. But what do you need to start your budget? Things to keep in mind. Buying your own alcohol and beverages is less expensive than ordering from Willits Hallowell. There is an exception to this. We're going to take not exactly an exception, but if you're hosting a party in what used to be Blanchard, what might now be the community center, you have to have a Willits bartender there, as far as I understand. So that's different. Like, you can't roll into Blanchard with a case of beer. That doesn't work. But really, no, it doesn't. Don't do it. But if you're hosting a cocktail hour in
We did it.
We're at the first step here. We're still at number one. So, for most of us are going to be hosting events in our dorm living room for a cocktail hour, a welcome event on Friday night, a Saturday afternoon cocktail hour, whatever that is. If you're hosting any of those events, which I imagine most of us are, buying our own wine, beer, spirits, soda, mocktails, mixers, buying our own and keeping them in the dorm is less expensive than ordering from Willits Hallowell. So if you're hosting, for example, a Friday night cocktail hour and screening of your J show, which some of us could do, if you had some of your classmates go to Costco and buy all of the wine, that is cheaper than having wine come in from Willits.
But you need to balance that with, do I feel like taking the time to go and purchase all of this? And that will all come out of your discussion, how much money you want to spend on reunion.
And the
there are
reality
places
of
that deliver.
and the reality of ability too, because remember that the dorms don't have kitchens anymore, and so can someone go get ice, house the beverages, carry the beverages, move them? Do people have cars or vehicles available, etc.? So just something to keep in mind. Yes.
I believe I heard you say that you can't bring in a case of beer.
To Blanchard.
Blanchard.
To this community center.
Oh.
Your own residence hall,
Yes.
you can do wherever you're hosting, wherever your home dorm is, that you're hosting your class, the living room is your space. But if you are going through the community center or Willits Hallowell, you cannot bring in alcohol, as far as I know.
Are there kitchens in the dorms anymore?
No.
Some dorms, and I'm not sure if they're stated, have what's called a golden pair. Like Mead has a little dining cafe area with a kitchen. It has, a refrigerator in it, but there's only a few dorms that actually have. Those are the dorms that had the dining rooms already eliminated. Like, so Mead doesn't have a dining room at all anymore.
And it hasn't in over 10 years.
Yeah.
So guys, something to keep in mind here is that this is all part of your discussion that you're having with your class board, and then thinking about your needs with your committee members. You all have differing budgets, you all have differing needs. And so if you have a very healthy budget, it might be easier on you to say, okay, we're going to have ice delivered because I'm 60 and I don't want to be hauling my behind all over the valley trying to find ice chests. If you're 23 and everyone, I would say, listen, how you can afford it, pay for it.
We can afford it.
And if you can't, this is when you employ those skills and getting people and volunteers and drawing people in to use the resources you have. Yes.
I'm still unclear about if our class happens to be in a dorm like Mead or Safford that does have a mini kitchen or a golden pair, that will not be operating. Is that what you're telling us? The refrigerator won't work. There will be no running water.
It will be. If there's a golden pair still in the dorm come reunion 2018, then it does have the refrigerator and the running water.
And it will be working.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the kitchens that were supplying the food to the dining rooms, those are no longer available at all.
But we aren't going to know which dorm we're in until about 2 weeks before, right?
Right. So budget in case.
Budget in case you need it. If you don't.
Yeah.
Did I hear you say we cannot bring wine into the community center?
Right.
Will wine be available if we
Yes.
have Friday night dinner?
Yes.
Yes.
We just can't bring it in. It's available and
It's
provided.
available, but it's not included in the price.
It is available.
Hold on. The issue is if you're in a college facility like Blanchard or Willits, they provide a bartender and the bar. So you can have it, you just need to order it and they will provide it. And they have to bartend it.
And just like Marcia said, it's like being at a restaurant. You wouldn't necessarily roll into a restaurant with your own food or beer. Same thing with Blanchard or Willits. That's provided, they're the provider of those services. Yeah.
What about the outdoor part by the theater? I think we've scheduled a reception on Friday for there.
Outdoor area theater.
By the theater.
Outdoor area at the theater, can they have alcohol there?
You cannot have alcohol, you have to order that through Willits. That'll have to be done through Willits.
Okay, never mind.
Okay. We're also going to touch on a lot of the alcohol-related rules. We talk about felonies and all of that. So if your question is specifically about bartending, not about budget, hold it, because we actually are going to have a whole presentation on how we deal with this. Okay, yeah.
And liability issues if you're drinking.
That will be part of that.
That's in our felonies section.
Promise.
Just to clarify on the golden pair.
Yes.
You do not know for certain if it will be. If there are ones that exist now, possibly will not be there.
I don't think there's any plans to get rid of the golden pairs. You just won't know if you're in a dorm that has a golden pair.
Yeah.
Which dorms have golden pairs?
But that's still a little fuzzy there. Will they be there in the dorms that have them or not?
So we will look into it. We'll try to come up with a list of golden pairs and get a good answer as to which dorms have them and to confirm if they will be available or not. Okay.
So would you just define golden pair?
Yeah. A golden pair. Who wants to define it? Go for it.
Because I have a student here. A golden pair, so basically for the dorms that no longer have any dining facility or kitchen whatsoever, they have created a sort of little cafe style area that has vending machines, and then there's another area that has like a small kitchen. You know, they can prepare meals themselves. It has a microwave, it has a stove, it has a refrigerator, it has a toaster, and it's behind a locked door, so it's not always accessible. The cooking area is locked, and the students can then live in the dorm, and then if they want, like my daughter will often go to the Golden Pear and microwave something for dinner as opposed to going to Blanchard or to a dining hall across the campus. But those are only in the dorms where the dining halls are completely gone and the kitchens are completely gone. So, and there's only a few of those on campus, right? There's like 2 or 3 maybe? I don't know, but.
Well, we'll
find
determine
that. We'll get to it.
Sounds like we also have to check on what it does.
Yeah.
They're unlocked if they're built.
People are saying we shouldn't count on them, but if they are there and operable, and we have 2 weeks before reunion, that's plenty of time to decide whether we have to order things in and
Yes.
ISIS, you know,
Yes.
or whether we
Yes.
can use the golden pair.
Correct. You're
So it
absolutely
really
right.
is very important.
Yes.
I think also students do keep their food in there, and there will be reunion workers there, so.
Oh, that's true.
You have to
That
think
is
about,
true.
like, you can't use the entire, it might not be entirely available even if you're in a dorm.
On reunion 1.
On
Reunion 1.
especially.
Yeah. Reunion 2, there won't be any student workers or students in the dorms.
That's
So
a really
a good point
That's
though.
a very good point.
We have some logistics to work out here because obviously there's a lot of things in the air. But just like Mona suggested, budget and plan do not have one. And then if you do have one, you can adjust your plans. It's better to have more money than you need than not
Yes.
enough money to
Not
need.
enough, yes.
Okay, Bridget, we are going to go through the next 2 slides.
Got it.
Quick.
So, other things. Remember to account for your honoraries and your speakers. A lot of classes will bring in a speaker for Saturday afternoon or a speaker for Friday evening or a Saturday night speaker. Account for that in your budgeting. You know, you need to pay them, you might have to pay for their travel, you might need to pay for their accommodation. Things along those lines, keep that in mind. Similarly, don't forget to figure in tax and gratuity where appropriate. If you're having things delivered, there are gratuities. Don't forget that if the aprons are, you know, if you're ordering, you may be able to get tax-free shipping from some places because you are separately incorporated 501c3, but you may not be able to, or you may not bother to, so account for the taxes. Think about that as you're making your purchases, okay? And you have to estimate your mailing expenses. You get a free mailer from the college, from the association rather, once a year, but in your reunion year, you're going to send out more mail than that. So account for that. Account for, I have this many people in my class, we need to print this many items, we need to buy this many stamps.
In younger classes, you have a lot of foreign people who live abroad, much more expensive. Account for that.
So keeping this in mind, a reasonable estimate is $550, and then you can also send it against email, and many of you up here have Twitter, Instagram, Facebook pages, you can also put it there. But it's also wise to budget for some mailing because a lot more stuff gets mailed. And last, there is a worksheet here. There is a reunion budget worksheet. And you guys are gonna have some time later this afternoon after we talk to start to loosely pencil in what you think your budget should or can be. This is also when you're going to talk to other people around you and your class reunion committee liaison to talk about, hey, how much does this cost? What do we think? Again, this is not your final budget. We're not setting it in stone, but starting to think about, all right, how are we going to do this? Where should I be putting this, etc.
And this form is on page 34 of the reunion planning handbook, page 34. And you can access that online. Yeah.
If a faculty person is involved with something, is it customary to give them an honorarium or not?
It depends on the faculty member, and they would certainly be able to share that information, but you would then also want to think about if you're going to invite them to dinner or give them any sort of thank you gift as well.
What do you,
So, I would think that certain faculty members would be able to tell you, I have an honorarium, it is this much, or I do not, and I'm giving of my time. Or you may just want to say, we would like to give you $100 honorarium for coming. Are you willing to come to our class and speak? I think that you have to go to each faculty member and see what they are willing to do, give, and so on.
And you can make a gift in their honor to the college.
Okay, so we tried to take as many questions as we could as we were going through the presentation today, and we will have time for additional questions later on this afternoon, but it is very important to make sure we have time to eat lunch. So I wanted to make sure that we are on track for a 12:30 end time, and we are only just a touch over. So I want to give you some housekeeping notes. So you're going to be going to lunch now. Our lunch is from 12:45 to 1:45. And then we are all coming back here to this room. That is a change from your schedule. All Reunion 1 and all Reunion 2 planners are coming right back to this room. We are going to be doing our section called Fun, Felonies, and Food all together as Reunion 1 and 2.
And this will answer some of your questions about alcohol, bars, bartending, where we can do things, what's allowed, fire codes, all the things that you're worried about, liability will be handled there.
So what we want to let the live stream know is that we are going to be back live again at 2 o'clock, so thank you for tuning in to us. And we have the parking lot questions here. We're going to continue going through those. Can we leave notebooks and things in this room, or should people bring everything with them?
I would bring your electronic devices with you, but I think your papers will be fine in this room.
Okay, great.